Can you give us a background, a story of how this all started?
Actually started in 1996 by my father, who's also my inspiration and my role model. Came into this country with nothing. He would tell me he would go to school. After school, he would go to McDonald's. After McDonald's, he would work at a factory, a pipe factory.
Yeah.
And then he would go to school in the morning. The goal was to basically promote our wheel brand. I think it's very important in your business. You have to be the best. And you also have to prove why you're the boss. Any person can lead your business and you have to be able to operate your business. If my warehouse manager leaves tomorrow, I'm going to become the warehouse manager.
Haris, thank you so much, man, for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
No, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, like I saw you've been getting nonstop calls, man. You're a busy guy. You're involved in your community. So thank you for making the time for me today. Thank you.
I'm happy to be here and I'm looking forward to all the topics we're going to talk about today.
Hey guys, I just realized that I did not mention in this video as we were editing who the sponsor of this video is, and that is TireBase. So thank you so much, TireBase, for sponsoring this video. For those of you who don't know, TireBase is a shop management system for tire wholesalers, tire shops, auto repair, mobile shops, anything you can think of tire related. I've invested hundreds, if not thousands of hours building this software, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And definitely, if you want to look into it, or if you're in the tire business and you need a system, please feel free to check it out. But without further ado, I'll let you continue watching of this incredible podcast. Thank you, TireBase, for sponsoring this video. Now, let's get back to it.
I had the pleasure of meeting you we've known, we're a connection through LinkedIn.
Yeah, I think you spoke to several people on my team and you're a hard man to reach.
No way, man. That's not true. My email's right there, but no way.
No, but I've heard a lot of great things about you. And we had the pleasure of meeting in person in Minnesota at a mutual friend's open house.
Correct.
And I think we hit it off after that.
Yeah, no, correct. Yeah, I saw you at Minnesota, and then we kind of told me a little bit about. I knew about the company, but for those of those who don't know about USA Wheel and Tire Outlet, can you give us a background, a story of how this all started?
Yeah, so USA Wheel and Tire Outlet Inc. actually started in 1996 by my father, who's also my inspiration and my role model. He came to Pakistan with literally nothing. When you think about the American dream, I tell people all the time, he's accomplished the American dream, right? Came into this country with nothing. A couple dollars. It was him and his whole family. And he moved here when he was 16 years old. He used to work 3 jobs. He would tell me he would go to school. After school, he would go to McDonald's. After McDonald's, he would work at a factory, a pipe factory.
Yeah.
And then he would go to school in the morning. So he did multiple jobs, saving money. After they saved enough money, it was my father, my father's brother, and my grandfather. They would all just, I think they had 1 bedroom in this house they had rented out. They were all working, saving money. After they saved enough money, the first business they got into was actually ice cream trucks. Back in the day, this is Sacramento. I was born in Sacramento. Ice cream truck business was booming. So they purchased 1 ice cream truck. And after school, he would go help his father, my grandfather, sell ice cream in the different neighborhoods around town. From 1 ice cream truck, they got 2 ice cream trucks. So there was always this model of reinvesting all your profits into the business, right? 2 ice cream trucks, sold both ice cream trucks, got into the grocery business. From the grocery business, it's funny, his cousin came and approached him with an opportunity because my dad's uncle actually started the first tire shop in Sacramento, California.
What's the name?
Man, it's been so long. I have to check. Okay, but this is before Discount Tire, right? First tire shop in Sacramento, California. My uncle Kayum and all the family used to work for him in this single tire shop. So my dad's cousin, learned from him and approached my dad. My dad had just finished high school. He was in the first year of college, still working as much as he could. His sisters didn't work, so he was actually putting his sisters through college. His cousin approached him with an opportunity and said that, I can't write. I need somebody to do all the bookkeeping and all the accounting for my business I want to start my own tire shop. So let's partner up and, let's start a tire shop together. So from there, USA Tires and Wheels started, and they had 1 tire shop, 2 tire shops, 3 tire shops. Eventually had 4 tire shops.
In California, that's
Sacramento, California, under USA Tires and Wheels, And then, it's always hard doing business with family drama. They split the company. My uncle retained 2 tire shops. My father retained 2 tire shops. And then my dad decided, you know what? I think it's time to get out of the retail business. Around this time, if you're familiar with Rider magazines, my dad was one of the first people to actually import wheels from Korea. And he used to be on the cover of Rider magazines, and they would actually do a lot of mail order. This is before Simple Tire and all those online tire companies. He would actually ship wheels across the country in the early 2000s.
By the way, because I know we have some audience that might be even a little young now to understand. Mail order was when you would get a magazine, you would say, I like this wheel, and you would write on a piece of paper, you mailed the letter, and then magically your wheels would just show up.
Yeah, it's
Crazy. So there was an economy for that back then.
Big economy. A lot less competition than for wheels. And, my pops was shipping out wheels across the country. So his mentality was like, okay, I need to be in a more central location, because California, shipping wheels, for example, from California to Florida is brutal, especially back in those days, right? So with that in mind, he kind of he left Sacramento, California, and he was on his way to Chicago, which is sort of in the center of the country, right? Chicago's wheel business was also booming back then. It was a big market, and his intention was to do wholesale and mail order. He had a layover in Dallas on the way to Chicago, and on that layover, he got out. This is in 2005, 2006. He looked around, checked out the market, and then he went to Chicago. He got off the airport. He got off the airplane in Chicago, looked outside the window, saw the snow, didn't even leave the airport. He turned around and decided, you know what, I'm gonna be in Dallas, Texas. Yeah, so it was
the weather for him was like, no, thank you.
No, I mean, because Chicago most business, especially tire shops, they're usually closed like 2 to 3 months out of the whole year. And business is so slow, in those times. Obviously, if you're selling winter tires and whatnot, but business can get bad in Chicago. So yeah, it was a coincidence. We landed here in Dallas, Texas, around 2006 is when we actually opened up our doors here in Dallas.
Okay. Well, now, how did you come into the picture, being the 24-year-old CEO of USA Wheel and Tire Outlet?
It's funny. My pops didn't want me to get into the tire business. Some of you guys watching, and you know this as well, the tire business can be very rough. There's amazing things about it. You meet some amazing people. There's also the harsh reality, that sometimes we see, right? Just dealing with people, interacting with certain people, and the lawsuits, and so much that we can get into. But he never really raised me to get into the tire business. It was always, and most, parents from my part of the world. I'm originally from Pakistan. It's 3 choices: doctor, engineer, a lawyer. So I was persuaded into becoming a doctor. So I did the med school route, for a little bit. I did my prereqs, and then I decided I'm not going to go to school for 10 years, and the reality is, and a lot of people don't understand this, but you could become a doctor. You can make a lot of money becoming a doctor, but when you own your own business, you can only limit yourself. There is no limit to the amount of money you can make. It's just how hard you want to work and how much you want to grow your business. And then you also get your own freedom, as far as your time, which is the most precious thing in this world. We only get less time every single day. So with that in mind, I decided, I want to do some sort of business. So I explored a bunch of different businesses. I did multi-level marketing. I did IT. I did pharmaceutical research.
Wow.
And I just explored, different avenues to try to see, what I could do. My parents gave me that chance. I truly believe that you should do something that you love, because then it'll be much more easier to grow that business. So I was trying to figure out what I love doing, and throughout that period, trying a bunch of different things, I fell in love with the tire industry. And how that happened was, the most amazing part of the tire industry is that it's so tight-knit. People eventually become family, right? Like, for example, I didn't know you, but I've heard about you, and same thing, like, you think that the tire industry is so big, but almost everyone knows each other, and there's some amazing people out there. And the best part of this business is the relationship you build with people. Yeah, it's fun selling tires and wheels, but creating lifelong relationships where some of your customers become even closer than your family, that was kind of what motivated and inspired me to join the business. So I've always, worked in the family business. I think I was 18 years old when I joined full-time. And when I joined full-time, it wasn't like, he's the son of the boss, No, my pops actually made me start from the ground up. So first job I had was actually unloading those tire containers. We saw that in the video we shooted, just working with the guys, manual labor. It was actually fun, stacking tires onto a pallet, moving the tires, stacking the tires into the racks. That's how I started. After that, I got into the marketing side of our company. We have our own brand of wheels, XM Wheels, Extreme Motor Wheels. For 2 years, me and one of our team members, we went to every single wheel trade show in the country. We did all the dub trade shows. Yeah, there were some times I wasn't home for 2 months. So we'd be in Charlotte, North Carolina for a trade show. Then we'd be in Florida the next week. And I just, the goal was to basically promote our wheel brand. That was the next step of my career. After that, I finally got into sales. And I had to become the best sales guy. And recently, I've took over the day-to-day operations. And I think it's very important in your business, you have to be the best. You have to work harder than everyone else. And you also have to prove why you're the boss. And, most people forget about that, because in any moment, any person can leave your business, and you have to be able to operate your business, right? So for example, if my warehouse manager leaves tomorrow, I'm going to become the warehouse manager. If my sales manager leaves tomorrow, I'm going to go in and become the sales manager. As a business owner, you have to have that flexibility, and you have to understand your business that well for you to do everything.
Wow. Well, thank you. And I know you mentioned XM Wheels and traveling, to so many different trade shows. So you're mentioning XM Wheels. So when did you suddenly decide, hey, let's so who came up with the idea of XM Wheels?
So it's interesting. my dad has always sold wheels, since, like I said, the early 2000s. We've had a few different brands. One of our first brand was K9 Wheels, which was just streets. Then we had Elegante Wheels. Then now we have our biggest brand, Extreme Motor XM Off-Road Wheels. We started XM in 2012, and we've been through a lot. We have over 50 designs. Most of our designs are patent or patent pending. So we have a patent in China, and we also have a patent here in America, which is expensive. And throughout that wheel journey, which I don't even think I've spoken to you about, we've gone into some lawsuits with some big companies.
It's not as easy as just why. Like, can you share not maybe the details if you get in trouble, but like why would a large wheel company sue a new wheel company?
You know what it is there's only so many designs you can make with alloy wheels. So, there's not much you can change at the end of the day, right? Long story short, wheel company thought that we had copied one of their designs. So they sent us, a letter, and, then we looked into their designs and they stole 2 of our designs. So we sued them back. At the end of the day, we actually settled with the company, and nobody won anything except the lawyers. Yeah, it was just a lot of money wasted on lawyer fees. But it's there's not much changes you can do on a wheel.
And now, okay, so then you guys, pretty much what you're saying is your dad, the previous 2 brands, were you guys manufacturing them, or were you guys distributing them? And then you decided to say, hey, let's create XM.
So, in the early 2000s, we were actually, I don't know if you're familiar with Borghini and Velocity.
Yeah.
We were the biggest Velocity dealer in the country.
Yeah. John,
yeah.
Do you guys?
Yeah. John is a good friend of my father's. They have some crazy stories. John is a very crazy guy. I don't know if you've ever met him. I've only heard stories.
No, I met him about a long time ago.
Yeah, so after that, we decided to start our own brand. I think in 2008, we started our first wheel brand. And actually, I have an NDA that I signed, so I can't say the brand name, but we've just recently acquired the rights to a very popular wheel brand. In the next coming months, you'll see that.
So probably by the time you guys are seeing this, the news might have been released. But either way, we will have also, before I forget, a walkthrough of the facility. Right now, we're actually in. Congratulations, you guys have a brand new warehouse. You guys recently moved, one of the largest in the nation. And so for those of you wondering or want to see how the warehouse looks like, then that's a walkthrough video that you can see also in our channel, right? If you don't see it available, if you're just watching this video, it'll be available the next week. So, but okay. I lost my train of thought, man. Where were you?
So let me tell you something else interesting. Whenever Avengers, the movie came out, my dad had a crazy idea. I guess he liked Avengers a lot. We came up with Avenger wheels. Very similar logo to the Avenger logo, I'm not gonna lie. And I don't know if we had to take off, we got a letter from Disney.
Really? So was that like that? Like,
yeah,
he's on it.
Yeah, Disney was on it. I mean, the wheels were already manufactured, we already had stock. And then Disney sent us a letter, but they didn't sue us or anything. They're just like, hey.
Yeah, just a friendly reminder, don't be.
Yeah, and it's even worse. What made it worse is that we actually had a wheel called the Hulk.
Yeah, so definitely the artist was inspired by a movie.
Well, most of the wheels, even like the 50 plus designs we've had, my father and I, we actually sit down ourselves, we work with a designer, and we make the designs ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
Walk us through again, because I've been familiar with some of these wheel companies, where I've seen and heard how the interaction goes, but maybe for those who are not very familiar, can you walk us through, just briefly, like super quick, how the wheel manufacturing process work? Like typically you have a factory that's willing to produce or manufacture wheels for you, and then you give them the design, or how does that work?
So first of all, the most important thing is finding good, reliable partners. Most of our wheel partners, we've been doing business with them for 10 plus years. One most important advice, especially in this day and age, is you have to go see the manufacturing plant yourself. You can make deals online and whatever, but I think it's very important to actually go in person and sit down with somebody on a table and have a real conversation with them and actually see what they've produced in the past. That's also important for quality testing. But you have to, see who you're dealing with, because a lot of the times, especially with wheel manufacturing, there's brokers in the middle. So you think you're talking to a factory when in reality it's a middleman.
Yeah, that increases your cost. And
Exactly. But we have very good, reliable, trusted partners in China, and now we're actually looking into other parts of the world for manufacturing. But usually we have to buy the molds, and we have to create a mold, completely original, or as original as can be, right? Like I said, there's only so much you can do with a wheel.
how much is a mold approximately?
I have to check.
Not even a ballpark. It's not like 50,000, 100,000. I've heard stories like 100,000 or.
No. It's not.
So the mold itself might not be the most expensive, but factories or manufacturers will require you to produce at least a certain amount.
Well, so even, and this is a trade secret, but most factories you deal with, you can sort of negotiate where if you buy a certain volume and if you commit to a certain volume, they'll waive the mold fees.
Okay.
And that's something that we've done in the past. And if you're looking to manufacture wheels, that's something I would suggest. But before you go down that manufacturing route, there's companies like ourselves. If anybody wants to create a wheel brand, they want to call it Fernando wheels, for example, just come to us. We have the experience. We know a lot of manufacturing partners around the world, and we can probably make you the wheels cheaper than you'll probably make directly with the manufacturing plant in China, just because of the volume we do.
I think that's true. Some people sometimes, we used to do that with tires sometimes, where people would kind of tell us like, why would I want to buy them from you if, I could just go to the factory directly? But then the factory might go and say, yeah, well, these guys are reaching a certain volume that, kind of, plus you're already putting the vouch of trust that you've tested those wheels. So that's something good to consider. Now, what I do know, I want to kind of like just jump to a different topic. I know you guys have 3 locations. Is that right?
So warehouses, we have a lot of different warehouses, but the cities we're in and I guess operational locations, yeah, currently we have 3: Atlanta, Dallas, and Houston.
So Dallas and Houston, I get it, but what happened with Atlanta there? Like, how did that one come? And
so it's actually funny. We bought out 2 companies to start the Atlanta location. A friend of ours, Alan, veteran in the tire business, he was actually selling his parts business. He had a parts and tire business, and he was looking to get out of the tire business. He approached us, and we figured, why not cover the East Coast with a warehouse in Atlanta, right? So it's funny, we bought him out, and with all that money, he started a Boba franchise. So he started a King Kong Boba, and he got out of the tire business. And King Kong Boba, they have like, I think 15 locations now.
Nice.
10 in Atlanta, and he actually sub-franchised it to a relative of ours here in Dallas, Texas.
Which we're gonna try later today.
I'll try it tonight, yeah.
Oh yeah, so that's how the Atlanta. What was the name of the company? Because that was maybe before I was like.
Yeah, I think it was called Altilla Tire and Accessories.
Okay, so it was a supply business, and did you guys keep the supply business?
We did.
And is that growing, or are you guys kind of just leaving that on the back?
Atlanta, it's a funny market, not my favorite market. So in the next coming years, I have to decide whether we want to stay in the Atlanta market or move to another market. It's not what we were expecting.
I see.
Yeah, very tough market. I guess customers' mentality there is a little bit different. Our target customer base are customers that like to stock. I guess with all the options in Atlanta, customers don't like to stock tires. So it's usually like 1 tire, 4 tire.
One piece or sets based on the transaction rather than stocking or bulk orders.
Yeah.
So going back to that then example about a struggling market, a lot of people watching either have their own wholesale, their warehouse, or they're starting to become a wholesaler and a wholesaler player in their area. Well, what would you recommend to drive sales? Like, how do you increase sales on a warehouse, like in a wholesale business?
Wholesale business, first of all, price is the most important thing. Unfortunately, the reality is that most customers, depending on what market you're in, they'll go to another customer for 50 cents, right? But that's where you have to negotiate with your vendors. You can negotiate with me. You know, it'll always help to try to get you the best price. It also comes down to service. Especially in wholesale, customers are expecting their tires a couple of hours after they've ordered it. So you need to be on top of deliveries. You know, being able to deliver to most customers 2 to 3 times a day. And then now, especially these days, the quality is very important. Customers are becoming more aware. A few years ago, nobody cared about DOT. Now everybody's looking at the DOT of the tire. And thankfully, most manufacturers do have a road hazard and a mileage warranty, and I think it's very important, especially if you're trying to upsell a customer. And if they don't want the cheapest thing, and if you don't have the cheapest thing, quality, mileage warranty matters. So it's good on the tire selection you have, making sure that you have a quality product where your customers will continue to buy that product. And, you know, it's not just they're going to buy it because it's the cheapest thing. They sell it, their own customer comes, the retail customer comes back like 2-3 months later and wants something else.
Yeah. What other factors would you say contribute to sales, like internal processes, or what would you say have differentiated you guys or allowed you guys to grow to the level you guys have grown?
Honestly, our key to growth has always been relationships. We've built amazing relationships with our vendors that trust us. And that's allowed us to get better pricing, a better size variety. There's a lot of vendors that we deal with that we've told them that, hey, we want an RT tire in this size. We want these sizes added to the lineup, and they've worked with us. Because, you know, we know what the customers want. You know, we talk to customers every single day, and having a manufacturer a manufacturer partner that actually listens to you and supports you is a very big deal. Same thing, relationships with our customers. I like to know my customers, you know, and if you're a customer watching this and if I don't know you, give me a call, you know, let's go for dinner. But yeah, it's just at the end of the day, if you have a good relationship with someone, you can always figure out pricing. Hey, you know, I need to be a little better here. And then you're like, okay, you know, I can work with you. It really comes down to, you know, being there for people and actually caring about what people want, right? I think that's kind of what differentiates us from our competition, is that our success truly depends on our customers. You know, they have so many choices when it comes to wholesalers. So when they trust us, we have to deliver, right? So it really comes down to the customer service you're providing your customers and making sure and always having that feeling that, you know, we're a family business and we want to treat our customers like family.
Okay, that's good. Just for context, and again, you don't have to share this, or you could share as much or as little as you want, but about how many orders are you guys processing per day, or in terms of sales? Just give us a little bit of how much traction are we seeing here?
I'll give you one number.
Okay.
Currently in Dallas, Texas, we have about 8% of the market share, which, you know, DFW alone. Now, DFW alone is not the only market we service. From our warehouse here in Dallas, we ship across the country. 50% of our business is actually just containers. Customers can choose from whatever products we have. We also ship containers directly from our partner manufacturers. So yeah, about 8% of the DFW market. And my plan is to take that to 50%, you know, in the next couple of years.
Nice. That's actually going to be my next question. I've gotten to know you a lot better today. You know, we've been kind of driving a lot, and I've gotten to see you're involved in the community and you have great ambitions. I have a mutual friend that was also in the podcast before. He's doing really well in Mexico. And you told me something like, I want to grow. I want to be the best and the biggest. So do you have, what's your strategy for that? Do you want to eventually expand out of Dallas, or how is that looking out?
So, I mean, I think we took the biggest step. Before we were in 100,000 square feet. Now we're in 500,000 square feet. Beyond that, we're negotiating to get better pricing on tires. We're buying more. So, like, for example, just to give you an example, regular wholesalers will buy, 100 of this, 100 of that. We'll buy 10,000 of this, 10,000 of that, just to get better pricing, just so that it makes sense for our customers, even wholesale customers, to choose us, rather than buying from an international company or an overseas company. That's our biggest strategy right now when it comes to growth.
So you want to be the wholesaler of the wholesalers, pretty much.
Exactly. Our goal is to be the wholesaler
Nice.
of wholesalers.
Now, and in terms of margins, are we talking about, again, me having a background in numbers and accounting, I love numbers. So is it, when you say, it's a price game, I'm assuming margins are very narrow or very, very tight.
Yeah.
How do you actually maintain a healthy profit for the business and not let the overhead or everything just take it over?
So again, wholesale is just about numbers. How many turns you can do, how many times can you flip your inventory, right? And now the more inventory you have, the more sales you'll get. Before, companies could have had $500,000 worth of inventory, you'll be fine. Now that I have $20 million worth of inventory, you're still missing some sizes in your inventory. There's new tire sizes that are coming out every single year, right? But really controlling your expenses is what it comes down to, and negotiating for the best price, right? And sometimes you're making 6% on selling, a set of tires to a customer. Sometimes you're making 25%. It just it comes down to how good your buying power is and how good your relationships are with vendors.
All right. Well, I know you're also a young father. You just recently had your first child. Well, recently, about a year and a half ago. So congratulations on that too. So, I have kids. Now you have a child. How are you balancing that work-life balance?
Honestly, you can never find the balance. The reality is that you'll have to sacrifice somewhere, whether that be with your family, whether that be with your friends. At the end of the day, you just have to have an understanding with everyone, right? Whether that be with your parents. But I don't believe in work-life balance, which is crazy for some people to hear. But sometimes work comes first. You have to put in the hours. You have deadlines you have to do. Your sales are down. You have to put in more hours, to get your sales up. And then there's other times where you just shut off work. You spend, a couple of days with your family.
I'm going to challenge that for a little bit, right? Let's see how well. So I do believe that's true, but I mean, let's forget about the family for a moment. How about Haris? What do you do to personally keep your mental sanity? Because at the end of the day, business can be very draining, and if you don't take care of yourself, then how can the business actually succeed?
Of course. Two things. Number one, it comes down to how much you love what you're doing. If you don't love what you're doing, then you should probably...
You're in the wrong place.
You're in the wrong place. Your mental sanity will be gone pretty fast.
So you're not Dr. Harris.
No. But it does get a lot. There's a lot of stress that comes with any business. People do different things. I like to go to the gym, and religion is a very important part of my life. So no matter how busy I am, I pray 5 times a day. No matter if I'm in a meeting or whatever, I'll have to step out just for a couple of minutes and, slow down a little bit, do my prayer, and then I get back into work. That kind of balances my whole day.
So that's in what you're saying is that's enough for you to mentally reset, kind of feel yourself back grounded and get back to it without... Do you ever feel burned out? Have you ever felt
Of course.
burnt out?
Yeah, of course. I mean, anybody that tells you they're not burnt out ever in their life, they're lying to you. Because you can only do so much work, right? A lot of our friends that are businessmen, they meditate, just 5 minutes a day. Just close your eyes, go into a corner, whatever, and just you have to remind yourself, why am I struggling so hard? For what? Money's nice, but what's the purpose of money? There's why are we working so hard? When you remind yourself about that every single day, your purpose becomes more clear, and you'll work a lot more, what's the word?
More focused, more...
you'll work with a lot more purpose, and you'll get a lot more done when you work with purpose.
Do you ever feel like, and again, I know we're getting here deep, but do you ever feel like you're sometimes stuck, not moving fast enough, or that time's running out?
So I don't think there's ever enough time in the day. If I could stay up 24 hours, I would, because there's never enough time for you to accomplish whatever you want to accomplish. At the end of the day, you just have to remind yourself that you have to put in the work. You have to put in the effort, as much effort as you can, and then just trust in God for the rest.
Okay. No, well, thank you for the insight. Going back now into I know there's some businesses here that are barely starting out, or they're looking to increase their sales, but AI has been starting to play a big role, and I've been starting to incorporate these types of questions in the podcast. So I know you have an AI guy, which you're the first company that I hear, oh, this is my AI guy. That's actually quite cool and refreshing to hear. But tell us, how are you guys actually using AI in your business?
So the tire industry and the construction industry are some of the slowest when it comes to change. One thing about me, and I haven't done it yet, so for the customers watching, you should be expecting this, but we haven't done it yet, is to figure out how to make the customer experience better and faster. So AI can be used for all of that. Just to give you an example, my AI guy, Kaser, one of the things we've done is we've received orders on email. We receive orders on servers. We've created an AI agent to actually take all those orders and put it into our POS system and automatically print the labels. That's one of the things we've done. Another thing we're doing in the next couple of months is when the truck leaves our warehouse with your tires, they'll get a text from an AI agent that your tires have left. At any point, if you want an update, you can message the AI agent back. It'll tell you the ETA of your tires.
Nice.
So we're still figuring that out, but just some of the things that we've been playing with AI, and whether you want to admit it or not, the next couple of years, AI will take over. I don't think it'll replace the job market. I think its goal is to make the job market easier, and we have to figure out how we can incorporate it to make business more effective.
Okay, and I do think, again, I'll be probably releasing a lot more videos about AI in the upcoming weeks, or if not, you guys are already watching some of them, but I do think that AI brings an opportunity. I think that, for those who start maybe a warehouse with a sales team, traditionally, 3 or 4 or 5 sales team, now you might be able to accomplish the same with one. Having or implementing AI agents in the way that, like what you're saying, it's still fairly new, but I do think that, one, you might not have to hire more people to accomplish more. You might be able to put your current employees on like superpower type of abilities where they can now, I don't know. That's my...
So another short story, I was approached by a company a couple of weeks ago. They have an AI agent for wholesalers. So customers are going to call our office, and an AI agent will actually take that order, place that order into our POS system. The issue with that, and you'd be surprised to know this, 70% of our orders are over the phone. We have B2B website, we have a good B2B website.
Yeah.
Where you can see the tires, and everything. But customers still prefer to call and not speak to a robot. not speak to somebody back in Pakistan. We tried that, it didn't work. A back office in Pakistan to answer phone calls. They actually want to speak to somebody that they know, and somebody local here in their markets. So that's something I probably won't do anytime soon, is just because I feel like that human experience is also very important to our customers.
Contradicts with the whole, relationship building.
Yeah.
How can you, at least for now, we haven't seen AI be good at relationship building. But do you think that if AI somehow, let's say we're going to call this AI Freddy, and you're going to start picking up simple calls, and we're going to set a memory line for you so you can remember Tom, the guy from the street who's buying, and you can remember and rationalize conversations that you've had with Tom, and suddenly Tom finds out like it's an AI, but every time I talk to Freddy, he's cool, he cracks up jokes, he's telling me about my history. Do you think that could change?
Possibly. It's funny because I have a Freddy that, works here. Freddy, you're not getting replaced.
Okay, so not Freddy, that's what that name is. So let's use Tom or another name.
But that might work until it asks the AI agent, hey, why don't we should go for lunch one day?
Then Uber Eats shows up. I can't be there, but here I buy you some Uber Eats. No, that makes sense, man. That's just interesting.
So like our sales reps actually go and meet customers, and whenever customers call, they're like, hey, can I talk to Ray? So Ray is not an AI agent.
That's good. That's interesting.
Another, I think, interesting thing about our industry is there's a lot of generational companies. There's a lot of tire shops. They're old school. Nothing wrong with old school. I love old school. But people in their older generations. I think that's one of the reasons we kind of hit it off, is because we're the younger generation. But the tire industry is still people in their 60s and
the majority is still old school.
Very old school. And some of my customers don't even have computers in their tire shops. So I think we still have a long way to go.
I sell POS, trust me, I've seen some of these shops where they pen and paper, cash is king. They've done it 30 years like that, and they'll continue doing it until they sell or pass on. So that's fair. Well, I think we're wrapping up here, Haris. I do appreciate your time, but I want to know, what's the long-term vision? What's your end goal? What do you want to accomplish from all of this? If you were to, someone from the other side might see your company fairly, big and already with a large warehouse and dominating, certain industries. But for you, what's your long-term vision? And ultimately, what do you want to see?
So in the next couple of months, I am launching a tire tech startup.
Nice, yes.
I spoke about that, but we're not going to talk about that here. But you'll see that.
You can share the details if you want. I don't mind.
I can't yet. Strict NDA.
Okay.
But we're gonna launch that startup, and I think hopefully that'll change the industry. If I launch it, if I don't launch it, we'll try. And if I might have launched it, but you might not even know that I'm part of it. I like to stay very low key.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends are gonna be watching this, and they probably don't even know what I do for a living. But tell me your question again. I get it.
So long-term vision, end goal, what do you want from all this?
Long-term vision, we want to be one of the largest tire wholesalers in the country, the most trusted. I know customers have a lot of choices when it comes to tires, especially in the tire wholesale industry. But our goal is to be, I think we are one of the largest in Texas. We're probably one of the largest when it comes to warehouse space. We have over 1 million square feet of warehouse space, but now just actually showing ourselves. I think my father's been very low-key, and we've always been kind of in the shadows. We've sold to some of the biggest wholesalers in the country, and nobody even knows. We've sold to the brokers, but now kind of to show that, hey, we're coming after a larger market share, coming after some, billion-dollar companies. We're nowhere near a billion-dollar company. Hopefully, in the next coming years, only God knows, so we'll see.
All right. Well, Haris, again, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you so much, Fernando.
Thank you.